Good morning and welcome to Saturday Morning Comic Talk, where we talk about whatever the hell I figure out in the middle of the week and talk with some great comic creators out there. So we always start things off with some introductions. So Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Steve Van Samson. I am from Massachusetts, where I currently am still. So I'm here. Here I am. I'm a writer of many things, books, short stories, all sorts of things. I'm also a podcaster, and I'm here today, this morning. I always say tonight. It's not tonight. This is Saturday morning comic talk.
Yes.
What am I saying? To promote my new book with my very good friend and partner, Mr. Derek Rook down there. We are here from Rough House Publishing, and I'm not going to mention the book. I'll let him do that.
All right. So I'll jump to Derek. So Derek, tell us a little about yourself and the book, because it's been dropped on you now. You're the one.
It certainly has. The shoulders are heavy already. My name's Derek Rook. I'm from Central Massachusetts. I'm a comic book artist. Been doing this for about 20 something. We don't, after 20, it just becomes 20 for the rest of my
20 something.
Yeah, 20 something for the rest of my career. But I'm known more in the horror world and underground comic world. I turned a self-publisher a couple of times in my career. Currently have Rough House Publishing that Steve and I run together and work on projects together at. Predominantly, we do comic books, but we also do novels, graphic novels, novellas, and all of our products are sold as collectibles. So instead of just selling a book, everything has extras, everything from stickers to, our latest campaign, we're giving away guitar picks and Blu-rays. So there's a little bit of everything in there for different people with different price tiers and everything else.
Yeah.
Our newest book that we're publishing is called Gore Shriek Resurrectus. It's a series that originally came out in the 80s. It was part of that black and white comic book boom with it that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ushered in, and that whole era, like the Tick and everything else. Gore Shriek was part of that, and we've done 2 previous books, and this is the last in the series. It's a horror anthology, kind of harkens back to that underground splatterpunk era of horror comics, and it's very anthology-like. There's different stories, different artists, different flavors of horror in it. And this book is currently on pre-order right now at roughhousepublishing.com.
Cool. Yeah. When we get to our campaign talk, I guess not quite campaign talk because you don't have a campaign, but book talk, we'll show it and you can let people know where to get it and everything. So Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I like long walks on the beach. No. So I'm Greg, co-founder of Serial Comics. We have a bunch of different comics from Kath in Space, Mittens, Space Pilot, to a bunch of superheroes that we've come up with. We have a new vigilante comic that's on Kickstarter right now called Night Watch. So, yeah.
I'm trying to think, is he a wrestler? Is that what it is?
He's an MMA fighter.
MMA, okay. I knew he was some sort of fighter because
Yep.
I just back your shit. So I didn't read any of the description of like, okay, Greg's got a new book. I'll do a quick back, and then he'll come on the show and tell me what I'm actually backing. So
Okay.
It's like you're one of those guys. There's plenty of creators I know when they put a book out, I get in there and I back it, and you're one of them. So
Yeah.
looking forward to that. And then I'm in one of your books when that one comes out. So that's going to be exciting. I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
My little short, I think 4-page story, which is always, as a creator, there's your greatest challenge. Like write something super short where you're not allowed extra pages. There's nothing harder. Like, because when you're publishing indie, you're like, fuck it, I need 32 pages. I'm going to make it 32 pages this time. You're like, no, you got 4 and not one more. You're not given one extra page. You're like, damn, now you're actually working when you have to write something when you have no control. So that was fun writing for that though, because I had to think way outside of my norm, which is like, keep going, more words are fine.
Yeah, I do that too. With Josh Harris, the artist for Mittens and stuff, he's done like he's doing Ash Canner too for Mittens, as well as the third comic. And he's like, so when you write this, it's only like 6 pages. You can't be yourself. You can't write like 30 pages. And I'm like, I know. He's like, okay. And then he's like, oh, wow, you write short things? It's like, yeah.
We're capable of it. Not to do it. It's like in the end, when you have full control, it's like the whole thing on Seinfeld where George Costanza was talking about the butter pump. Like, it's too much power. We shouldn't be able to have that much power in our lives, but yet we do. And that's what probably one of the things that keeps us indie and keeps us poor. So in the end, maybe if we just did proper page counts, they would back that Brinks truck up and we'd be just fine.
Indie and poor, so lose.
Yeah, lose.
We know what we're doing. That's fine.
Yeah, but hey, we're having fun along the way, and when it all ends, and we look back, we're like, hey, at least we had a good time, and we didn't bankrupt our family. So there's always that, It's like,
well, there's still time. There's still time. So
I still have plenty of life to bankrupt my family. So things aren't over, and always aspire.
That's
all right. So we're going to move into our first topic, and that is what show or movie, you can pick either one, has a perfect ending. So if you are someone who tunes in every week, we've talked about bad endings. We went on a whole tangent about horrible endings on shows. So yeah, plenty of time to bankrupt the family. Absolutely. My goal is not to, but we'll see where life takes me.
We'll see.
So we're going to do the perfect ending. We shit on bad endings that one went on for quite a while, but this time we're going to praise good endings, good writing. So Steve, what's a show or movie that has a perfect ending?
Well, I'll just give you one of each. I mean, so let's go show. I don't know if it's the perfect ending, but it must be, because even though at the time I probably didn't think so, but it has haunted me like no other ending for any other show ever, and that is the ending of Quantum Leap. When Dr. Sam Beckett never returned home. I was gutted to the max with that. That show is my favorite show. I was probably like 12 or so when that aired. And I loved it so much. And that ending, it just ends on a black screen with text.
Yeah.
And to this day, chills. Like, I don't know how they had the balls to do that. You assume it's going to have a happy ending. It's not a dark show.
No.
And oh my God, that freaking ending is insane. But I mean, movies, there's so many, of course, but I'm gonna go a little outside of the box and say Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Okay, because the ending with Derek's favorite, Kiss, playing God Give a Rock and Roll to You, maybe not one of Kiss's best songs, but it is the best possible song for that moment of that movie. It is so great. I mean, they could have probably maybe tried to lip sync better and pretended to play the actual music, but other than that, oh man, what a triumphant freaking ending that is. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, so I don't remember how Alp ended, so yeah, I don't remember. But with Bill and Ted's, quite honestly, I think I watched it once, so I'm going to take your word for it. But yeah, the Quantum Leap one, that was so crazy. I think they did it. I think it was more of an afterthought ending. I don't think they filmed a proper ending, but instead they could have done the nice text and Sam returned home to his wife. But then, no, fuck that. He just leaps around. He gets to live, a day in the life of infinite people until he's dead. So poor Sam.
Right. The one good thing was the reason that happened. If anybody has ever seen this, he was dealing with essentially it's supposed to be God is finally showing up and he's getting to talk to the person who's been sending him around, on this journey or whatever. But he ended up saving Al's life and his marriage and stuff, and that was the price he had to pay, is that he's had to sacrifice. And Al never got to work on the Quantum Leap project because he was off being happy with his wife who didn't die. So, it was nuts. It was really ooh, I'm getting flushed right now talking about it. It's really crazy.
All right. Fish, how's it going? So, Greg, what is your perfect ending for a movie or a TV show?
I was going to say Sopranos and then everyone would hate me.
You know what? It's okay. Release the hate amongst our audience. I'm here.
So, the first time I watched Sopranos, the ending, I was like, "Oh, that's the ending." But then I watched it 4 other times, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good ending." I thought that was a really good ending. But I think it's Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is really good.
That was a great ending. And Sopranos, I remember that ending. I thought my DVR fucked up. We recorded it.
Everybody thought that.
And I was like, oh shit, damn it. It died up. Our DVR was, I mean, that was the beginning technology of the TiVo and the DVR. And it glitched out all the damn time. And you'd be watching the show and then it would go green for like 3 minutes of it. I'm like, of course it would be on the final episode of this series that it's going to glitch out. So we recorded the next showing of it. And I'm like, oh, that's actually the ending. So I had to process being angry at the TiVo to being angry at the show to thinking, okay, I understand what they were doing. But it took a little bit because we had to re-record it and fast forward it to the end. And like, wait, that's really what they were going for. Especially in the era of shitty TiVos, they should have thought better about it. And at the end, like, that was actually the ending. Your TiVo did not malfunction. It's like
that's like the trolliest ending of any show. It really is.
It was, and it's still divisive, but Breaking Bad. I loved that ending. I didn't think my TiVo broke, so hey, I think I actually watched that one in real time. That was one of the few that I watched in real time because I knew that was internet era, so it was going to be spoiled fast on Facebook and everything else. It's like I'm not going to allow the spoiler people to drop that and ruin it for me.
Yeah.
So Derek, what's one that you think has a perfect ending?
Wow. So there was a couple go-tos that I had my finger on the trigger and I was just gonna go for the low-hanging fruit. I decided to go with movies instead of TV shows. And even with movies, when I started to think about it, there's a lot of them out there that nail the ending. Like I won't even go into them, but a couple of runners up was Seven. That ending of that movie was probably the single most gut punch that I've felt.
And
I did not see that coming. Like a lot of people in retrospect turned around and said, "Oh yeah, I saw that coming halfway through the movie." No, you didn't.
You did not. You're a liar.
You're full of it. And then the original Planet of the Apes. The big reveal. But those again are just those grandstanding endings that I don't think anybody would argue. I decided to go with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles today.
Oh, nice.
It's my favorite comedy, and it's also kind of my favorite drama too. Like it covers all the bases for me. It's got so much incredible amounts of heart. It is funny as hell. I've been watching this comedy for 30 years, and it's funny. Like if you look at my my physical media rack, like you have, Ed, in the back. It's 90% horror. It's like 5%, it's like 90% horror. It's like, 7% sci-fi. And then there's like 2 comedies. And the reason I don't collect comedies or even rewatch comedies is because they only work for me the first time.
Yeah.
Once I got the joke, then it's not really funny unless I'm watching it with somebody who hasn't seen it. But I can literally watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles every single solitary day of the week for the rest of my life and still just get the same amount of enjoyment out of it. But nothing hits it home better than that ending. After this crazy, odd couple scenario that takes place throughout this entire movie. And then finally Neil gets on a plane and he's on a train and he's getting ready to finally take the last steps to get home, and he's thinking about everything that happened, and then it starts to click and it starts to things start to there's still a piece of the puzzle that's not 100%. And then he goes all the way back and it's just that line where he's like, "What are you doing here all alone, Del?" And Del's like, "My wife's been dead for 7 years." But what makes it a perfect ending isn't just the heart that and the gravitas that particular scene brings, but you got to figure if you're thinking about the next 5 minutes of the movie after it's over, right? So here's Del. He's been by himself. He's been this traveling salesman alone, probably accosting all sorts of people like Neil all through the holidays and all through these other scenarios and whatever. Neil is finally the one who takes him home, not just so, I don't think anyways, so he can have a nice home cooked meal. But think about it, Neil worked in marketing in New York, right? And Del is like the best salesman ever.
Mhm.
So I always
Right.
wanted to think that it starts off with like a long weekend where he gets to stay at the house, and then Neil makes a call to his boss in New York and says, "Hey, I got this amazing salesperson. Do we have an opening?" And
Yeah.
and then we just have a lifelong friendship after that. You know,
There you
Yeah.
go.
darkness. in the
You're
world.
doing like the subreddit. Let's go the next year after Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and things turn
Yeah.
out okay. Maybe he even
Yeah.
finds love again. So yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. That's perfect. You took the good ending and you just kind of kept moving with it, and that's beautiful. So yeah, I think for
Yeah.
me, I thought of the same kind of things you did. Like 7 is a perfect ending, and I love the ending. Sixth Sense, even though
Yeah.
Shyamalan's kind of become a joke, that shit hit hard when I saw
Yeah,
it
it
in the
did.
theater because I
Yeah.
didn't know it was coming. And if you don't know it's coming, it's just beautiful. Now my daughter was like, "Oh, my friends have been telling me about Sixth Sense," and she already knew the ending, so
Mm.
it doesn't have that gut punch when you know it's coming. And unfortunately, Shyamalan just kind of rode that wave. Like, now everything must have a twist. So if you know it's coming, you're gonna figure it out. And I
Right.
think that's
Right.
what made 7 so good. You didn't know there was any kind of a twist coming. Sixth Sense, you didn't know. Once you know, any good writer is going to sit there and pencil through. It's like, okay, I figured it out, and you're midway in the movie, and the big reveal at the end, kind of like The Village. I remember that. I'm like, I had that figured out within 15 minutes, and now this movie's stupid because once you have it figured out, it's not so fun. But I love the dark endings. I guess I kind of go with that. So I think when I was a kid, I saw Empire Strikes Back in the theater, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever because everything
Right.
was so bleak, and you
Mhm.
don't normally get that in those kind of movies. Especially, that's a movie catered to kids. I mean, you can go to the store afterward and you can buy an infinite amount of toys from it, and yet they went full dark on it. Like, all right,
Yeah.
Luke's lost his hand. He's hanging, clinging to life. He's actually the father. Han Solo's in carbonite. It's like, this world is fucked. Then it ends with teddy bears, and it's like, all right, you did not stick the landing, Mr. Lucas. But at least Empire Strikes Back was just, I saw it in the theater, and it always lived with me. Just like at that age, yeah, you don't have to have this perfectly wrapped, happily ever after bow. And it was a beautiful one. And I think experiencing it in real time as a kid, it lived with you. We're just like, wow, what's going to happen? Everything in this world just went the bleakest it could in a universe built for children, and children and adults alike. It was definitely for both, but I love that ending.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Empire is another great example for sure.
Yeah.
Like one of the classics, just like Planet of the Apes. It's like what a gut punch in 7. Yeah, these are great
Yeah.
examples. Absolutely. I also love the ending of the original Alien, where
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, okay, well, so like she won, but now she's just gonna like Hail Mary it and like drift off into space
Float
in
in
a
space
very
for a while.
tiny capsule and like hope somebody picks her up at some like that is a quiet, like bleak, and like you could hear a pin
Yeah.
drop for the next 2 minutes.
Mhm.
After that started to roll, the credits started to roll, like insane.
Yeah. And some of them, it's kind of like when you're talking about Planet of the Apes. If you saw it in the theater, you got that gut punch. But by the time I watched Planet of the Apes, I had seen the ending parodied, and
Me too. I'd seen Spaceballs before.
yeah,
So I'm
I
like,
saw
oh, what's
Spaceballs
this?
before. So you miss the impact of it, but it is a damn perfect ending. I mean, it is one of those ones that anyone who got to experience it in the theater or on home video before someone told them, oh yeah, it's actually Earth, they're going to see the Statue of Liberty. It's amazing. But I didn't watch that one till I was a teen. I think it was probably like one of the local channels was doing a Planet of the Apes marathon, and my dad was like, oh, these are great movies, we need to watch them. And by that point, I knew so much of what was going to happen that the impact wasn't there. But to see it, like he was saying, he saw it when he was 12 years old in the theater. Yeah, that's going to be amazing, because I think I'm trying to think how old I would have been when Empire was, but I was young as well, and you're like, whoa, everything went bad. I love it, and instead of blow up the Death Star and here's your medals, like, nope, no medals for Empire. You guys are all, you might not make it to the next movie, but like I said, then we got our cannibal teddy bears, and
Hey,
from
lay off
there.
the teddy bears, all right?
All right,
Jedi's
all
my
right.
favorite. Whatever.
I had an Ewok stuffed animal. Who am I kidding?
Yeah,
That shit was on my bed. I can pretend because now I'm an adult and I'm like, I'm too cool for Ewoks, but no. That little baby Ewok was the cutest shit ever, and I loved it.
The little hand puppet.
Yeah.
The little hand puppet they had. So funny. So funny the different, like, the array of different special effects in those Star Wars movies, just absolutely like insane. I love the video footage that now it's readily available. I'd never seen a Phil Tippett doing the Rancor, and it's like a big puppet, but like he's behind it, just kind of it's like a rod puppet, I guess, and they filmed it like at super fast speed, so it, and then slowed it down. It's like, oh my god, that freaking
the
thing!
Behind the scenes stuff is
That
insane.
thing.
It's so good.
I mean,
yeah, I love watching that. I remember when I was a kid, they would show those TV specials of behind the scenes, and you're just blown away. And some people watch it and think, I want to be a filmmaker, and I watch them like, I couldn't be a filmmaker. That's way too much work. That looks too difficult for my mind to process.
Yeah, that was Derek's original track, right? He wanted to do special effects
for most, all the way up until college. I got sold on a computer animation program that I didn't want. But even when I signed up for college, it was to be the class title or the profession title at the time was industrial design technologist, and that was like saying I'm a petroleum transfer engineer, but I pump gas, But that was if you wanted to be an engineer in the special effects industry. So you weren't just doing the puppeteers, you were actually creating animatronics. You were doing something closer to like the Queen Alien in Alien, and
that's so
Aliens
cool.
rather.
Yeah.
But
seeing that, how they did that in the parking lot and just kind of mocked it up, it's so amazing.
Oh yeah, no, but in some ways, I wish I had the gift of foresight, because they literally sold us at the time where all practical effects will be gone in like 5 years, they said. Wow. I mean, you won't ever see them ever again anymore, ever. And
it's so sad to think, because that they're still so beautiful, and if you look at them comparatively, they still hold up so much better than that. Some of the, like, as when CGI was first coming in, there's some wonky ass CGI that's out there, and it is embarrassingly bad. And it's you look at the practical effects from that same era, and they hold up so much better. And I was watching, because my wife and I were doing a rewatch of all the Final Destination movies, just for the hell of it. We were bored, and when they started getting into CG, it got so bad. And it's like the first two had really cool, like they staged a giant car crash, and it was elaborate and it was beautiful, and then it was just, here's this thing on the roller coaster, and 90% of it is bad CG, and it just takes you right out of the movie. It's like, all right, that dude just turned into a cartoon, and it's not even hiding well that it turned into a cartoon. So it was
like early 2000s. It was like the new toy in the industry, and everybody wanted to play with it. And just like everything else, there's like three houses that are amazing at it, and the rest are just putting it together with minimum know-how, and you get those on the same silver screen as Jurassic Park, unfortunately.
And we took
like 15, 20 years for the rest of the industry to just be able to do Jurassic Park after that first movie. It was like really insane.
And some still can't. You see some dinosaurs that look like shit, and it's like, pay attention to what the master did. And it was a combination of both. It wasn't over reliant on one or the other. It wasn't pure puppets. It wasn't pure CG. It was that perfect sweet spot where you couldn't tell sometimes if it was the CG version or the full puppet version.
And it was a lie too. Them saying that it was going to go away forever. I didn't understand back then that that's what colleges do to get students to, it's like recruiting the poor for war. Like, you want that buy-in one way or the other. Yeah, but oh well.
Yeah. So Fish has some stuff going on, and Fish, with your thing about the Matrix, I talk about that one too, because that was the year that Episode 1 from Star Wars was coming out, and everyone thought that was going to be the movie that was going to shock everybody and blow their minds, and the Matrix came out before. It's like, oh, sorry, Lucas. That's cooler, more interesting, and way more copied than what we saw in episode 1. Because then everything was bullet time for a minute. And it's like people don't realize that Matrix started it, and then every movie, even the parodies, start doing it because it just became such a thing. And our kids won't understand because we tell them, but they're like, yeah, what do you mean it was groundbreaking? I've seen that in 45 different movies, or I see that on a TikTok video now. So yes, our kids won't understand, but that's because we're old, and that's all right.
Did we really understand our parents anyway? I mean,
no.
I feel like this happens every time.
Just quick on the Matrix, since we're talking about it, it just popped into my head. But I was going to college in Florida at the time that movie came out, and because we were all special effects students, every like special effects heavy movie was almost like homework, And I remember after that movie came out, it was so groundbreaking in so many ways, but it had been such a long time since I've been that excited after the movie was over. Mm-hmm. You know how like Eddie Murphy used to talk about how like people would go see Rocky and then come out and thought they were Rocky too, and then they'd get their ass kicked and end up in ER. So me and my friends went to go see The Matrix, and when we left the theater, I was so amped up and so excited. I just started doing all these stupid moves. Like they weren't really moves; they were just me, flailing around like a screwball. I'm making all these noises and stuff.
You're trying to do the bullet time.
I'm trying to do the bullet time and everything else. I didn't realize that there was this couple that was watching the entire thing, and the woman of the couple literally had to be held up by the husband. She lost her legs because she was laughing so hard at me. But it was just the goofiest thing.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, you don't. It's every so often that a movie comes out that's so damn groundbreaking that it changes the landscape for the entire industry for the next decade or so.
Totally.
Yeah, it's amazing when that happens, and I just think it was such a shock because episode 1, it was just all the buzz was this is going to be the greatest thing, and it was The Matrix that beat it. And when you talk about that, I just think about the Karate Kid. Every kid walked out of that movie doing the crane. At least I wouldn't fall on my ass. Like trying to do bullet time, I'm going to end up on my back and in pain. But all of us could pull off the crane. Like, fuck yeah, I'm a karate master. And you're not. But every kid's like lifting those arms and doing the crane and like, ooh, I'm going to try to do it on a log. That's when things could get dangerous. You end up impaling yourself on a log somewhere. But those I love those things where you walk out of the movie and you have to be a part of it now. So those are some
that first Karate Kid movie is a pretty awesome ending too, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good ending. Yeah.
That is.
And if you just get the first scene of Karate Kid 2, where Miyagi goes out and defends Johnny and punches Kreese in the face, like I wish that was the end of the first movie. That would have been perfect.
Perfect closeout, yeah.
So Steve, the novelization of the Karate Kid, that was the ending of the book.
Oh, okay. So that was in there.
So they took that little chunk of the book that they didn't put in Karate Kid, and they started Karate Kid 2 on that, which I thought was
that's cool.
That is cool, yeah.
Yeah, so let's move into our second topic. We spent a lot of time on this one, but that's what makes it fun. Just kind of going off on tangents because my mind never stays in one direction. So apologies if you want me to follow a straight line, but if you're tuning in after this much time, you know how I go. So let's talk about now, what sitcom universe would you want to live in? If you had to live in a sitcom universe, which one are you going to? All right, so we'll go backwards this time. So, Derek, what sitcom universe are you going to live in?
Well, off mic, we were talking about The Office a little bit. I actually had that as my number one. I think probably, but then I was thinking to myself, probably every one of us probably had that because it's so damn relatable.
Yeah.
Especially the last job that I had, my last day job that I had. I mean, it was literally like The Office every freaking day. Me and one of my coworkers, we used to laugh about it all the time. But such a relatable show. But just for the sake of trying to do a deeper cut, I put Married with Children.
Oh.
I just wanted to get out of this reality altogether, and I wanted to go back to a time where we could laugh at literally anything, and it wasn't yeah, the jokes are offensive, but they're not trying to hurt anybody. They're not being offensive. It's comedy. And I think that's something that we've forgotten to do. Like even stand-up comics today have to apologize before they tell the jokes that they're telling on stage half the time, unless you're Bill Burr or one of those guys, or Cat Williams. But like I miss the days when we could just laugh at ourselves. We could laugh at each other. I mean, it's the closest to my kind of comedy in real life that I don't get to share anymore because, you know, I'll get canceled and I'll end up.
Oh man, yeah, you got to walk on eggshells now. If you're a stand-up comedian, that's a rough gig.
And I'm awkward anyways, so like I'm guilty of being that guy that like goes up to somebody and says something in pure heart and soul, and somehow it turned out to be a sexual innuendo. You know, and I didn't even realize it, you know, and
I've seen it.
I went up to a coworker one day. She was working for me, and everybody worked at a different station, and they had a different amount of people traffic coming through. And I went up to her one day, and I'm like, I said, so how's your flow?
Whoops.
I'm going to stop there. That's
and you meant Flo from Progressive, but of course she didn't know that, and it was a whole thing.
Even the guy that was next to me started laughing, like he just couldn't.
Yeah.
I realized what I said. But Married with Children, for all the reasons.
There you go.
Yeah, I actually picked that one for a different reason. I want to be able to afford a nice stacked 2-story house on a shoe salesman's salary.
Yes.
I want to just be able, like, I got to work hard to put a 2-story house up right now. But if I could just be a shoe salesman, that's got to be a minimum wage job at best. And you're able to afford a house like that on minimum wage with a teacher salary, I'd have a fucking mansion in that world. So
that was a single
that's what I need.
Yeah, single parent.
So
right.
I picked it for an entirely different reason than you. I just want the affordability of their housing market out there.
It's a really good answer right there.
And considering the house that they lived in, for us all to be sitting here saying, hey, I'll take it, that's saying something about today's economy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing. But yeah, that's where I pick. That's why I picked that universe. And I mean, I like the other reasons you say it, but I was just like, damn, if that's what you can get on a minimum wage salary, I'm a king in the Married with Children universe. And they're gonna say some offensive jokes, and I'm cool with that. But it's like, fuck it, I'm in my mansion. I'm Zuckerberg in that world.
That's right.
All right. So, Greg, what's your sitcom universe you want to live in?
Oh, he said The Office. I'm going to say Parks and Rec. Same thing.
Good one.
Same.
Right in the same wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're going Parks and Rec, and yeah, it's same vibe, same universe. I think it almost feels like a connected universe, especially with the way they film it. So yeah, I could live in either one of those. Although I don't know how long I'd want to work in that office. I can just be in that world. But yeah, the office gig seems like it could get rough at times, but you'd always be entertained. And same thing with I mean, I want Ron Swanson to be my coworker. I would have the best times dealing with a guy like that. It would be lots of fun because he just doesn't care, and he's gonna call it like it is, and he's gonna make you some amazing food. So I'm down to go have dinner at Ron Swanson's house and have a fat steak or something. So
yes, Tornado.
Yeah, there you go. So that's where I need to go. So Steve, what's your sitcom universe you're moving into?
Well, so I'm thinking like, you know, there's two scenarios, right? There's like there's job sitcoms and there's family sitcoms. So I think that if it's a job sitcom like The Office or something like that, I think I'm going to go Brooklyn Nine-Nine because I love that show. I think those cats are just super awesome. I'd be a cop at the 99 anytime. It'd be awesome.
99.
At the 99. Love that show. If it's a family thing, I am going with I'm picking by the greatest TV dad of all time, in my opinion. So what I want is the family. So the patriarch is Uncle Phil. So that means it has to be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And who wouldn't want to be the Will of that scenario.
Yes.
I mean, I don't come from Philly, but like, you know, I mean, we got streets. I can hear cars right now. There's streets right there. I mean, like, I don't know. I love Fresh Prince, man. Like that was absolutely one of my favorite shows. And that was one of those shows that, like, man, when it decided to hit, it hit with like both hands up, like full force. Like that show could gut punch like you were never expecting it. But James Avery as Uncle Phil is, in my opinion, the greatest TV dad of all time, even though he was an uncle. Hey, he was a dad to his own kids anyway.
Yeah,
but
he ended up being the dad to Will, because when Will's dad did show up, like you say, there's your gut punch episode.
I mean, that's one of the ones. Yeah, that's like you can't watch that and not get emotional. Like you just can't. It's impossible. And that clip just endlessly circulates over the internet and stuff. And I always watch it. I always watch it. There's another one. I don't know if I'd want to live there, but there's another clip. Oh my God, do you guys remember the show Rock? It was Charles S. Dutton show on Fox. It was like, I think 2 seasons or maybe just 1 season, but it was a good show, but it didn't last. Charles S. Dutton was the main dude. There's a scene that always gets thrown around with Rock, and it's like him. There's a guy outside who's like a gangbanger dude who kind of comes up and tries to, like, you know, pressure him into doing stuff. And oh my God, Charles S. Dutton becomes the scariest person in the entire world in that scene. You know what I'm talking about, Derek?
It took a while to click, but yes.
Oh my God. Like look up. It's ROC.
Yeah.
ROC, and look up like drug dealer scene. It is the best. But anyway, that's a tangent.
Yeah, I remember watching that show. I was one of the few people that were tuning in because obviously, like you said, it didn't last long, but it was a good show.
I watched a lot of like primetime Fox in those days, like you know, and that was a killer show. It was really good. It was like it was a drama heavy comedy. Like it was, there was comedy, but Charles S. Dutton is one of the great character actors, I think, that just didn't become as big as I think he should have. I don't know why that happened, but he was excellent in absolutely every single thing he ever did. So
yeah, I'm sure Alien 3 didn't help his resume because
hey, I love Alien 3. You're shitting on my favorites. Come on.
Hey, no, Alien 3 didn't help anyone's resume. Even the director hates it. But
I know.
I listened to a whole podcast about the way the studio destroyed that movie. It wasn't anyone's fault besides Fox meddling, and you know, I'm sure that's the story of so many movies that could have been better. Is just studio, get your damn hands off it. Trust the vision of the director, and what you could have had was a really good movie, and what you got was a watchable but not amazing movie, because it's still.
And they had so many scripts like floating around before that even get so many false starts to that project. It was just like, oh my God, that was like the ultimate studio meddling. Totally.
Yeah.
And to be fair to that movie, you know, if that movie was going to be a trilogy and that's absolutely it, it wasn't the worst way to end that.
No, actually, that's my favorite ending of the Alien movies.
Yeah,
so that's a good answer. Yeah. That's a good answer.
I love that Wild Bunch. I love that Wild Bunch. You know, we're not getting out of here, but neither is that thing. We're gonna take this out. You know, Charles S. Dutton, his performance was probably one of the best of the movie.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think so.
He was amazing in that movie.
Amazing. Yeah.
And he reminded everybody, I'm not the good guy. I'm not even close.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like you don't want to see my rap sheet.
Right.
You know?
He did.
He had to remind you, I'm a murderer and rapist of women.
That seems amazing. Yeah.
See, now I got to rewatch Alien 3. You've convinced me. I mean, because I didn't hate it when I watched it. It's just after Aliens, it's such a strange directional turn.
Yeah.
If you can, Ed, you might have already, or you guys might have already at some point. But if you guys can watch the assembly cut of that movie, it's to me a much better movie to watch.
Okay, and I have it. I just haven't watched it. I think we bought that big Blu-ray box set that came out a few years ago, and I just watched the theatrical one of all the movies. And after 3, you realize, okay, it does go down pretty hard.
Yeah.
Where the 4 is just a mess. And then talking about CG, they went from all practical aliens to CG swimming aliens, and you feel the difference.
Oh yeah,
it's not a good one.
We weren't
and
there.
And the interesting thing so Alien 3, there's a lot of people will say that there's bad CG in that movie of the alien, and there's no CG of the alien in that movie.
No, it's all practical. It's all puppets.
But it's a rod puppet. So it is weird. There are people like, instead of a man in a suit, it's a rod puppet with people like controlling the arms and legs, making it gallop and stuff like that. So there is this uncanny valley thing about it, and you can, like, it does sort of look like bad CG. It is weird, but in fact it's practical. It's not CG.
Well, it's still composited, and it's still composited kind of bad. Like, what I remember about the compositing is they couldn't get the shape. I'm sorry, they couldn't get the size of the character right from shot to shot. Sometimes it looked tiny, and sometimes it looked massive. And Steve, there is one single CG shot in the movie at the very, very end when they show the close up of the head of the alien cracking right before it blows up.
Oh, and it's awful.
And it's terrible. I mean, it
terrible,
sticks out like a sore thumb. But
it
that
does,
was a single CG shot of that entire movie.
Yeah. All right. So our next topic, we're moving into music. I always do one music topic on the show. And this one came up because last weekend, actually, I went to a Garden State reunion show where they had every band from the soundtrack come out and play their song and some other ones. And it made me start thinking, what's the best mixtape soundtrack? Where we're not talking, orchestral score, not John Williams, but where they take a batch of songs, put them together, and make a mixtape soundtrack. So we'll start with Greg. What's your favorite mixtape soundtrack?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So good.
That one's so good. And that's the one my kids relate to the most. That's the one they started with, and they want to play that record, like, oh, let's play the Guardians music. So now they know those songs because of that soundtrack. So that's a really good one. Yeah. Forrest Gump, that one is like all the songs from the 60s and 70s kind of rolled into one massive mixtape soundtrack. I know that one sold stupid amounts of copies. That's one of the higher selling soundtracks out there. So I can definitely see that one. So Derek, what's your pick for the best mixtape soundtrack?
This is probably my most favorite question ever. When I saw this on the thing, I was like, yes, I just couldn't wait. So my favorite animated movie is this movie called Rock and Rule that came out in 1983. A lot of people to this day still don't know about it, no matter what. It came out for 1 week in 1983. It had a very poor distribution. So many problems with the movie itself. The cut that was released in the theaters wasn't even the final cut. It was just the cut before the studio burned down. It was so many different things, but it's a rock and roll fable movie. There was like two big animated movies at the time. There was Heavy Metal, which was definitely by far the more known and popular one out of the two. But Rock and Rule was this tiny little rock and roll fable movie about a small time band trying to make it. And then you've got like this Ozzy Osbourne style, like mega rocker who's in decline, and he kidnaps the girl from the band because she's got a voice that when it's used correctly can open up a portal to another dimension. And this guy is maniacal. He wants to start this stage show that's going to end all stage shows, and it's going to bring him back to prominence. And it's like this awesome rock and roll thing, and it's all against the backdrop of post-apocalyptic world where everybody is mutated slightly, so they're humans with dog, rat, or cat features, which doesn't have any relevance to the plot at all. It just is. So there's places like Nuke, York, and all these different like little things, but it's just so cool. And it had an amazing soundtrack that nobody got to hear because it never officially came out anywhere. The soundtrack, all the songs are in the movie, and since then, a lot of the artists put those tracks that they contributed on their own compilations, if they in fact had compilations for them. But you had Debbie Harry predominantly, Robin Zander, Cheap Trick, Lou Reed, Earth, Wind and Fire, Melanie Brown. They were all of these, and it was very eclectic to each other. Like when you listen to it, it wasn't oh, it's all rock and roll or it's all whatever. Like Dance 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 by Earth, Wind and Fire is this awesome disco funk song. It is the coolest thing ever. It's the Unearthed Films is the only company boutique company that I know of that ever put this out before the VHS or after the VHS days. For a while, it was on HBO when it first debuted on HBO for like a couple of years, and then it just disappeared. Once VHS was over with, it disappeared, and now it's out of print altogether. As a matter of fact, I was trying to get the license for it. I love it so much because I wanted to do a sequel of it in comic book form. Marvel put out a comic book adaptation of it, but that is an awesome damn soundtrack.
Yeah, I've never heard of the movie or the soundtrack, so now I got to go seek it out.
No, it is. I can't tell you that you're going to love the movie, but you're going to love the damn movie. It's so damn freaking cool.
Yeah, I remember Heavy Metal at that time, and that was definitely the more mainstream. That played on whatever, the cable program we had, and I think that came out when I was like 8 or 9, and I was the only one of my friends who were allowed to watch it, so I was the cool, edgy kid, like, I'm going to tell you about this. We're going to see this. We're going to see this. And then it had this song and it had that song. And yeah, I'm the one sitting there in the driveway of my house in the middle of nowhere, describing it to my friends. And they're just like, oh, I can't believe you watched that. You're so cool. Like, yeah.
You're like, I know. Dude, I know.
I just happened to stay up past my parents and watch whatever crazy shit I could watch on cable. And that was one of them. But yeah, this one, I've never heard of it, and nothing else. I got to go seek out the soundtrack. But some of the best soundtracks you can't even find. Like you'd have to find a vinyl pressing that's going to cost you a small fortune. But
you'll never find an official release of the soundtrack. You can go song by song. If you go to Wikipedia, and then those artists sometimes released it on their own. Some of them didn't get released at all.
Okay.
But it's fun to just check out the movie. I think it's free on YouTube.
There you go.
If you guys are so inclined.
All right.
Or you guys can come over to my house for a movie night.
There you go. We need to do a live screening of that, and
we'll do a Discord or something.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Rock and roll.
I'm ready. It sounds good, and I've never heard of it, so that's even better. Now I have homework to find that one. So, Steve, what's your pick on this one? Best mixtape.
This is a great question. Really fun answer so far too. So I mentioned Bill and Ted earlier, but I'm going to pick a similar movie, Wayne's World. This was a very, very important soundtrack to me as a kid, 1992. So everybody knows Bohemian Rhapsody. Not everybody knows, like that song wasn't really the beloved classic that it is now. It was, a 20-year-old song at that point, and it's weird, man. Like Bohemian Rhapsody has you can't sell that. Like, why did they make that? Well, because Freddie wanted to. It's this weird rock opera in 7 minutes or whatever it is, or 6 minutes, and it is weird. But Mike Myers fought to have that in the movie. And fought really, really hard. That was actually a deal breaker for him. He wasn't going to do it if they didn't, because they wanted to do Guns N' Roses for that scene. And he's like, no, it's Bohemian Rhapsody. That's it. And they're like, nobody knows the song. It's not even one of their big hits. And today it's like, oh, Bohemian Rhapsody is totally one of the big Queen songs.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, because of Wayne's World. And you can't even think of that song without, them in the car, and when the headbanging. Yeah, and the headbanging part comes up, that's the headbanging part, and it's just crazy. So, but the whole soundtrack's amazing. Obviously, that's the movie that made Tia Carrere's career, and she has 2 songs on the official soundtrack. Though her cover of Jimi Hendrix's "Fire," which is in the movie, it's not on the soundtrack, unfortunately, but it was a B-side, because there was I can't remember what it was, but I know there was a single from the soundtrack. And how weird is that? I think it might have been Ballroom Blitz. I think that might have been the single, and then they put Fire as the B-side, which is just awesome. But I mean, Ballroom Blitz, what another classic freaking song. When does the cover kick that much more ass than the original. I mean, the Sweet Song is nothing compared to that, in my opinion. And what they did with it, they turned it into this massive rocking freaking song. Also, Alice Cooper, one of my favorites, and he's got Feed My Frankenstein on that. Forever one of my favorite Alice Cooper songs because of this movie. Because, like, just everything and the age that I was, you know, that's just my favorite. Hot and Bothered by Cinderella. Foxy Lady, Jimi Hendrix. There's like Lovin' Your Lovin', Eric Clapton. It's an insanely solid, like, classic rock, hard rock album. Just period. The soundtrack is like absolutely killer. I think it's one of the best mixtape soundtracks of all time, easily. I remember the soundtrack to Last Action Hero really hitting, and I remember when that came out with Arnold Schwarzenegger there. I remember the big single from that was Two Steps Behind with Def Leppard, but also Big Gun from AC/DC was on that, and that was like one of those weird things where it's like people like, yeah, the movie's good, the movie's fine, but like the soundtrack. And I remember the soundtrack was just like selling out everywhere and did so well. It's weird how that'll happen sometimes, and I've never even used the term mixtape soundtrack before, but I knew exactly what you meant. Like, yeah, that's a great title for it. That's a good way to describe it. It's fun stuff for sure.
Yeah. And I think I went a more kind of standard and boring route, but I think of the Singles soundtrack and just kind of when that hit and that era with, you know, the grunge and alternative, and you have Pearl Jam, you have Smashing Pumpkins, you have Chris Cornell, you have Mother Love Bone, and it's just, I mean, I was, you know, in the 90s such a huge Smashing Pumpkins fan, and Drown still might be one of my favorite songs of theirs. It might be my top song, and that was recorded just for the soundtrack. The fact that Cameron Crowe, because Cameron Crowe can make a freaking brilliant mixtape soundtrack. He does it in all of his movies, where I've never seen the movie Singles. I started watching him, like, I'm already bored, and I turned it off. But I've played that soundtrack infinite times because I just love those songs. And the fact that he got most of them recorded specifically for the movie is just amazing. I mean, he pulled such good stuff. Even if you watch, you know, like Vanilla Sky, another one, I don't love the movie, but the soundtrack is so good. And even with Almost Famous, like, he just had the, you know, Fever Dog can get stuck in your head, and that was just written by a fake band for the movie. So Cameron Crowe has such a knack for putting together these amazing mixtape soundtracks, and that, yeah, he's my favorite. And then I guess my runner-up is another one. They're just kind of, these are the mainstream big ones, but I think of The Crow. And
good
that
one.
soundtrack, I bought that one. I loved the movie too. It came out when that was right in my wheelhouse. And just, you know, you have a new song by Nine Inch Nails covering Joy Division. You have The Cure, who recorded a brand new song for it, and great songs, both of them. And then, you know, STP playing that song before it made it onto their album. So that's one that, you know, song after song, it's just such a good soundtrack. You have Rollins Band and Rage Against the Machine even contributing songs.
Pantera has a great cover.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I love the and they, you know, a rare Pantera cover. That doesn't usually, that's not like what they were known for.
Yeah, so I went with more of those, but I love the ones that you're talking about, because that means it's okay. I want to seek these ones out, and like I said, Guardians, that's the mixtape soundtrack that my kids swear by, and they love that one. And I try to, because both of them are getting more into music, so I play a lot of weird and obscure stuff for them, so they're kind of getting more knowledge of that. So yeah, I have to watch that. And yeah, the Rock and Rule, we have to do it, because I know we're already talking about in December we're going to do a Christmas Vacation 2 live screening, and we're just going to talk all the shit about that movie. So if any of you guys want to do it, we're going to fill the room with 9 people and live watch Christmas Vacation 2 and in all of its god-awful glory. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't watch it yet, because
I haven't seen it.
Anyone who's been on the show, everyone's going to get the invite, and we're just going to fill the room, and like, all right, you can come in for 20 minutes if you want, and you can stay the whole time, but we're gonna screen it on the platforms that won't kick us off, and just Mystery Science Theater.
Nice.
That mess of a movie that I didn't know existed till I saw it at my library, and I was like, all right, I have to watch this. And is
that like Randy Quaid only?
It's Randy Quaid only. It's everything you would expect. How bad do you expect it to be? It's worse. And I just think, yeah, like my children watched all the Chipmunks movies. I rank it aside like the Chipmunks Squeakquel, where they were stuck on an island. Oh no, Chipwreck.
Wow.
That was it. The fact that I know all the Chipmunks movies is just a sad testament to how
my daughter was into those too, and we would like take her to the theater and stuff to see those, and those Chipmunks movies are rough.
They are. They're about the worst that I had to watch with my kids, but I know Chipwrecked was one of the worst. And as I was watching Christmas Vacation 2, I'm like, oh shit, it's Cousin Eddie Chipwrecked. It's all the levels of bad that is, but with Cousin Eddie and the first Audrey comes back. I'm like, damn, she's in some bad times if she has to come back to the sequel for Christmas Vacation. But yeah, live screening, we're going to do it in December. So yes, tune in. We've already started the ball rolling, but yeah, that'll be
all right.
A fun one. And Fish was saying we can do a Fire and Ice and Rock and Rule. So yeah, I want to try to do it. We just have to find the platforms we can get away with it on and have some fun. So Fish,
yeah, Fire and Ice is a perfect.
Let me know.
Fire and Ice is a perfect movie to pair with Rock and Roll. Actually, they both are rotoscoped animation, and it's perfect. Yeah, I mean, Heavy Metal's probably more on the nose, but Fire and Ice is, I think, a cohesive movie, a whole story, just like Rock and Roll. Whereas Heavy Metal's just like short stories, just vignettes and stuff. So.
And that's also kind of going with the more obscure ones, because most people know Heavy Metal. I mean, if you're our age, you've probably seen it at least once. And yeah, you know, then you described it to your friends and got to be the cool guy because you saw cartoon boobs and they didn't, and you're like, ha. You saw cartoon blood and you're like, damn. That guy's the edgiest of all time.
I came across somebody talking about that movie just recently, and they were talking about the scene with the aliens doing the cocaine. And like and we were talking about like how when you were a kid you see that movie and like there's so many things that don't make sense.
Yeah,
you just
I don't think I even described that because I didn't know what it meant. It's like
right, and you sort of just don't admit that. You just pretend like you know everything, and to your friends, and you're like, yeah, no, I don't know. They're cleaning. That's obviously like they're cleaning the floor. Like obviously. Yeah. And then your friend's like, yeah, totally. Like, I don't know. It must be just really fun to clean the floor.
A weird way to clean floors, but that's how they do it in space.
Yeah.
All right. So that is it for our weird topics that I came up with this week. And now I have a challenge next week. Actually, next week we won't be live. Next week I'll be at another con, but in 2 weeks I got to think of new topics because I don't repeat topics, which is the bane of my existence. Because when you're on your 30th show, like, all right, what do we talk about now? But we can always find something fun. And if you have suggestions, please drop them in the comments. If you want to hear me talk about a topic, we can do it. We actually, in backstage, we came up with a really good one that I'm going to throw in next week's show. So, yeah. They weren't cleaning the floor, as we've learned now. Sorry, Fish. We just did the shattered glass moment for Fish.
Oh, no.
Wait a second. That wasn't. They
so sorry, Fish.
That wasn't alien sweeping.
Oh man.
All right.
Is that Clorox or something?
Yeah, that's you know that was the Clorox. They got it, and then they can ingest it, and it also helps clean their bowels or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can make up some random thing. So let's see. All right, thanks. I'm glad, and
thanks, Woody.
Appreciate you tuning in, and we're having fun. You can tell I'm enjoying this myself. So
earlier, Woody brought up one of my favorite movies, The Abominable Dr. Phibes.
Okay,
just awesome shout out to that movie.
Still haven't seen that.
Another one I haven't seen. So now I have my to-do list to watch some movies, and watching them on YouTube with lots of ad breaks and bad quality. That's the best way to watch a movie. So let's move in now. Let's talk about some campaigns. I know Greg has one live and you have a pre-order for your book. So let's dig into that. We have some good stuff. Greg always brings the goods when it comes to the writing. I enjoy his stuff. I need to dust off my book review show. I was doing little 1-minute reviews of different comics, and it's time to dust it off. I haven't done it for a while, but I think summer's when I'll dust it off because that's the beauty. As summer teacher, then it becomes, no teaching gig to worry about, but I can become full-time creator. So get some of those out there. But yeah, ink, mittens, those are those are the series that people know, but we got a new one. This is a brand new series from Greg. So just give me a second to get the share screen on this one. And Night Watch 1. 1 second here. It's cooperating. Last week, nothing wanted to cooperate with me, but this week it is. So let's hear about Night Watch. Tell us about this book.
So it's a MMA fighter that retires to be a vigilante full time. If you like Daredevil or Batman Year One, you'll love this. So, yeah, it's basically me if I was an MMA fighter, jacked, and a vigilante. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Fish
so I
actually did
love the art. It's great art for the MMA fights. So
Yeah.
this looks great, and there's MMA such a huge thing right now. It's kind of surpassed boxing. I don't hear buzz about boxing anymore, but MMA, that is still the king. And yeah, just watch how those tickets sell out in 5 seconds and make people rich on StubHub.
Yes.
So how does he have superpowers or anything?
Nope. Well, not yet. So
okay, so
down the road,
no spoilers.
Which
I will not probe you and make you give away the book.
And yeah, the art does look great because Fish did it.
Fish did the art. So
Nice.
how can you go wrong with that?
All right.
Fish coming in and doing the art. He has such a great art style.
He was
So
cleaning the floor and doing the art.
yeah, so Fish is right. The art looks great. Fish did that. It's funny, I was digging through my box that I take to cons, and I came across Fish's book, and I'm like, that's where it went, because I bought it when I was in Nashville. So Fish, I don't know, are you going to be in Nashville again this year? I know you were on the fence, so I'm hoping you're there. I will be there. And how many covers do you have for this one?
Just one.
Just the one. Okay. You're keeping it
but
simple. I like that.
Yeah.
Me doing my 4 covers, it's kind of like, it's a lot of work. And some people want it. You have those collectors that they expect that multiple covers, but you're going with one good cover, and that is what we see right here, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got. I got my physical tier. That's the one that I'm getting, as you can see, my selection. But yeah, you have shirts as well. You get the little belt keychains. I saw those. I was kind of browsing through all the rewards, but like I said, I still didn't know what the book was about, because I just like Greg back, and then he'll come on and he'll tell us what's going on here with this book. So
I like the $75 tier because I've never done something like that before, but it's like a narration of the comic, and also
that's so cool.
there's also a digital commentary that we're going to be doing too.
Okay.
The narration is actually Fish's idea because he has a lot of fans that are like dyslexic. I'm like,
Okay.
it's a really good idea. Let's just do that like forever.
Right. Yeah, it's something I'm still eternally trying to figure out how to do, and that is to make a proper comic for the blind, not just a braille reading of the book, but to give them that comic book experience for someone who went blind later in life and experienced comics in their book form. I want to try to do that. It's something I've been trying to work out. So seeing what you're kind of doing with the narration is something that would work for that. So something, if you're a creator and you have an interest in trying to put together comic books for the blind, talk to me, because I've had the idea for so many years, ever since my brother went blind, and I want to make it happen. It's just the logistics, because I don't do the art side of things. So if you're someone who can kind of work out the ideas in my head, let me know. And seeing your thing just reminded me of that. So that's good. I always need the nudges to just not let that one die in my head. But I stole your moment, so I will shut up. And you can tell us, what do you have here for your add-ons?
Well, basically everything, almost. You can get the championship belt sticker. One of the things that I was going to do, but then I was figuring out how would I ship it, would actually be a championship belt, because you can actually get those made. But
okay.
Yeah, that would be kind of difficult to ship.
And what would they cost for you to make? Are they like, would you have to charge like $150 or something to?
I think it would be something like that. I think it's 75 for one. I don't know.
Okay.
I still have I'm gonna get ads on Instagram and stuff after talking about it. But,
Yeah.
It's called TrophySmack.com. Yeah, it's $79 to design
Okay.
a 2-pound belt. That's youth size though. But
Okay. Well,
yeah.
no one's gonna actually wear it. They're gonna put it on the wall.
Exactly.
Or as he would say on the 9-9, the cummerbund. All right. So you have some backer goals. Let me know if you want a copy of Immortal Era to throw in there. I'm happy to send one of those your way, or Corruptor. I think you did Corruptor in one of your previous campaigns, but you're welcome to grab any one of my books if you want to toss it in there as another digital goal. So happy to share if you need it.
Cool.
All right. So no Nashville this year for Fish. So take this down and let me get Steve and Derek's book in there. So just a second. Yeah, I'm not my eyesight is not the best, so navigating the little screen thing is never my greatest. So if I pause the show, I apologize. It's just I'm doing my best here, people. All right. So let's take a look at Gory Shriek.
Gore Shriek.
Gore Shriek. Yeah, see? I told you I'm blind.
It is pretty gory.
All right. So Gore Shriek, that is gory. See, you saved me in the end. All right. So tell us a little bit about Gore Shriek.
Sure. Steve, do you want me to, or do you want
to? Please.
All right. So Gore Shriek is a title that we have a license for. It originally came out in 1986, and it's about to celebrate its 40th anniversary next year of the title. Gore Shriek was part of the black and white comic book boom of the 1980s. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kind of ushered that whole thing in. Black and white comics, indie comics were always a thing, but they weren't popular. It wasn't like what Image did for indie comics in the 90s, but once that happened, the floodgates opened, and a lot of these other black and white comics had an opportunity to enjoy the spotlight. Gore Shriek was one of those titles, and again, it was definitely on the independent splatterpunk side. It was an anthology. It was a single issue comic, so 32 pages. Usually had like 2 stories an issue. And it ushered in some of the greatest artists of our time. Some were already around, and others were brand new. For instance, Greg Capullo got his start on Gore Shriek, issue number 1. Cool. So Steve Bissett, Chaz Ballin, there's been a million others whose names are escaping me right now, but a lot of these amazing illustrators and writers got their start through this independent comic. So back in 2016, we grabbed the license and we did what was called Gore Shriek Resurrectus, which was a resurrection of the title. We did a prestige format book. It was 48 pages, and we sold it with a bunch of extras. And since then, we've done 2, and we're doing our pre-order right now for our 3rd and final issue, which is obviously Gore Shriek Resurrectus Volume 3. So what you have up on your screen right now is the different tiers that we're offering for different price points. We always have what's called an Ultimate Edition, is what you're looking at right now. And that's the whole bells and whistles. So we have 2 different covers for this title, both drawn this time by myself. But we also have a personalized death certificate that we're offering. Steve did a 4-page Gore Shriek newspaper, which actually takes stories from the past, and he kind of expounds upon those. Again, kind of like what we were talking about off mic, about the next 10 minutes of whatever story that you enjoy, what happened after the story was over, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Steve wrote an original story in there too, so it's almost like getting a narrative extra story in addition to the 7 that are in the book. We've got a double-sided poster that's inside. We have a barf bag, guitar picks, regular size posters, Blu-rays, everything.
Nice.
Then we also have, as you scroll, a sketch card edition where people get to choose one of the two covers, and then I do an original sketch for them on a sketch card. And then we have a smaller tier just to get the book. Each of the covers have its own set of extras. So cover A comes with its own set of extras, and cover B comes with its own. One other thing I forgot to mention about one of the extras that we're offering is a official hot sauce for Rough House Publishing. There's a company called Silk City Hot Sauce that has been working with us in the past that is coming up with a very special formulated signature brand hot sauce just for us. And in the ultimate package, it's also offered as well. So people who get that package are getting everything under the sun, every idea that we could have ever come up with. And that's been very typical of the way we sell our books, where everything comes with extra things. So we're giving people a very authentic analog experience.
Love it. So it looks like a lot of them have already sold out, because I saw that some are limited to a certain amount of copies. So the top tier, that's where you get everything from every tier. So if you buy that $79 one, everything you see in every tier that we scrolled through is in that one, I'm assuming.
That is
That's
correct.
awesome. Yeah, that looks great.
There are some things that are in addition to that, exclusive only to that tier.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
the hot sauce and the Blu-ray.
Okay.
And yes.
And what's the Blu-ray of?
So this time, so Steve wrote 3 stories for this issue, and I wrote, I think, 2.
Okay.
And then we had some other writers and artists. So altogether, there's 7 stories, but one, there's friends of ours who are movie makers. They did a short film right around the time of the pandemic. It was called Stray. It was a kind of a whodunit werewolf movie. Short film. It was about 28 minutes long. It was really, really great, and I was very inspired by it. But as soon as the premiere happened, literally, we were on the cusp of shutting down the earth. I remember the premiere very well, because at the pre-party, everybody was talking about this might be the last time we're going to see each other for a while. It was just this weird, sardonic first 5 minutes of melancholia thing going on, you know? And then the world did shut down, and that was pretty much it for the next year. So I took a character that is just a nothing character in that short movie and created another whole entire different story in the same genre, in the same universe, but completely different from the movie Stray that exists in Gore Shriek. So it's almost like the story that I wrote would take place kind of as like a side quill. It's taking place at some parts as a prequel and some parts at the same time, but there's crossover there. So if you're somebody who bought the ultimate package, you could read the Gore Shriek story, which is called The Devil Who Strayed, which is a prequel to Stray. And then you can pop in the Blu-ray and you can watch the next part. So we're always trying, you know, in the convention scene, Ed, you know, you guys, all you guys, you do conventions, you meet a bunch of people, you meet so many talented individuals in their own right, not just publishers and artists and writers, but I mentioned Jeff Levine, who does Silk City Hot Sauce, who's a culinary guy who does amazing signature hot sauces, and movie makers and everything else. So the idea is always to try to find interesting and creative ways to create and cross promote at the same time, you know. The rising tides raises all ships kind of thing. On our level, especially on the convention circuit level, we're all here, you know. There's no tiers of that. We're all kind of trying to make it together, and we all have a lot of individual things to offer. So the opportunity for us to kind of use that as an excuse to get together and make it happen, and kind of push each other's stuff is always awesome. And no matter what, the fans get it all. You know, at the end of the day, the casual fan that doesn't know Rough House from Silk City, from Fat Foot Films, from anybody else, they're just getting this awesome product. They don't care or know where it came from. We have fans all the way from across, you know, we have fans in the UK, Finland, you know, we have fans all the way. We have fans in California that have never been to a show that have just heard about us through the Vine. So they're just getting this amazing product. So it's just kind of letting everybody know, hey, our little hub over here in Central Massachusetts, we got a lot of cool stuff going on in here.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, I love the art. I love that old school horror vibe that you have going on for it. And I might be talking to you because I have a horror one-shot coming out, and I'll need some covers. So if you're available, I'd love to have you do a cover like that because it looks so good. And
that would be great. Yeah, I'd love to.
Last thing we'll talk about, I'll make it brief because if you watch this show, you know about it. And JC, by the way, glad to run into you at San Diego and at WonderCon. Thanks for the support. I appreciate that. And thanks for tuning into this because you're going to learn about not just my book, but like you were saying, lots of great books. There's so many great indie creators out there putting out amazing work, but just like, there's so many great bands out there, you're not going to hear about all of them. So hopefully I can shine a light on the great stuff that you may have missed otherwise. And you can, support some great indies, help us not go bankrupt. Going back to our beginning, we're here not to bankrupt our families, and you're going to make that happen. Or make that not happen. So quick little rundown, Immortal Era. This is still on late pledge. So the project is over, but late pledges have been enabled. I'm going to turn off late pledges on Monday when I ship out everything. So Immortal Era 11, it's the continuing story, 10. My brain is always 3 issues ahead of where I'm supposed to be. So Immortal Era 10, it's the continuing story of a group of heroes who live in a world where everyone has gained immortality but not power. So it's a miserable world where they continue living with some people like this character being stuck as just a decapitated head. So it's a quest with our heroes to find a way to restore the natural life cycle and to save humanity by killing them. This is issue 10. It's closing out our second story arc. We're getting near the end of that. It's going to be 12 issue. Issue 12 will end this story arc. And now our heroes have infiltrated the control center, and lots of problems are going to arise and leave us in a mess when issue 11 rolls around. So this is quick preview. And if you haven't backed it, it's still a couple days left. Like I said, I'm turning them off on Monday when I drop all the books up at the post office, and issue 11 will be coming out. My hope is launching it in late May or June. So yeah, last couple days to get late pledges in if you were wanting to get a copy of Immortal Era number 10.
That's awesome.
Looks great. Looks really awesome.
All right. So thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to wrap up. I have to play a few of our ad sponsors. So Madness Comic Network has sponsors that help support this channel and keep it going. So we're going to play a few of those. And then next week, as I was saying, it won't be a live show with guests. Next week is going to be at Anacon in Anaheim, which is a con at the Anaheim Library. It's free. So if you're in the area, if you're local, come on in. There's lots of great indie creators there. It costs you nothing to get in the door. So more money to drop on indie comics. So please, if you're near Anaheim, come and say hi. Even if you already have my book, just come in, say hi. I love talking to people. Pick my brain. I inevitably will give spoilers away. I'm the worst. I mean, I've given away the ending of my book to someone at my table who kept probing. I was like, oh shit. Well, pretend you're surprised when you get there. All right. So here we go. Here's our first sponsor. right. So before we play our next sponsor ad, Steve, tell us where we can find you on social media and anywhere else.
Sure. So you can find me, Steve Van Samson. There's no P in Samson, unless I drink too much. On Facebook and Instagram. I'm also on Blue Sky, but Facebook and Instagram, find me, Steve Van Samson. And if you're on the East Coast and there's a horror con, there's a good chance that Rough House Publishing will be there, so you can see this face and that face there, and buy some awesome stuff from us. We love that.
Yes. So
and we'll be your best friend forever.
Look out on the East Coast. Hopefully you guys make it to the West Coast. If you do, let me know. Love to.
Yeah.
I'm usually pretty much, if there's a con out here, most likely I'm doing it. So we will cross paths if you make it out on this coast. All right.
Actually, let me mention my I almost forgot my podcast. My podcast is called Retro Redoctopus. We've been on for 7 years. We're in our 7th season now. We have a couple hundred episodes, and we talk about nostalgia and fun geeky stuff all the time. We have a great Facebook group. So if you look up me, I post about it a lot, and you can look up Retro Redoctopus. It's like octopus, but with R-I-D in front of it. It's kind of like ridiculous or redonkulous or whatever. We just made it up. Anyway, come find us. We're pretty fun. We'll have a good time.
All right. Sounds good. And if you ever have any openings, I'd be happy to come in and talk on your show.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to play our next sponsor ad. And then after that, we'll let Greg tell us where we can find him. All right. So, Greg, tell us where we can find you online.
SierraNovaComics.com. Kickstarter right now is SierraNovaComics.com/Kickstarter. That is the redirect to get to the Kickstarter. If you want to back Nightwatch, you should back Nightwatch.
Yeah, you need to. Be like me. When you see Greg's name, just hit that back this project button. You don't need to think. You know you're going to get a good read. In the end, you'll be happy. And you'll be surprised because you won't even know what book you just backed. And then you read it like, all right, that was good shit. But yeah, it's Greg's name. I hit that button. You need to do the same. People, be like me. Just be impulsive and make bad decisions.
Be like Ed.
But that's not a bad decision. It's a good decision because it's a Greg book and you will be happy in the end.
Yeah,
and
you don't need to pay
fish art. You also get fish. You get Greg, you get fish. That is a win-win combination. Hit the back button. Don't even read the description. Just trust me. You'll be happy. And if you're not happy, you can send me your angry comments, but you won't. See, I know I'm so confident that there will be no angry comments.
I dare you.
People. You're going to find Greg. You're going to be happy. And then you too will be an Insta backer like I am. So do it once and you will always do it again. So one more sponsor ad, and then Derek, you can tell us where we can find you.
It's Flip City Magazine, The Parodies, Special Edition, with savage send-ups of The Walking Dead, Star Trek Picard, Stranger Things, The Mandalorian, Guardians of the Galaxy, and more from the first 4 years of Flip City. Get Flip City The Parodies free when you subscribe in print at flipcitymag.com. The world's best satire magazine, and never, ever woke.
All right. So, Derek, tell us where we can find you online.
All right. So I am on Facebook and on Instagram, and Rough House Publishing you can find on Instagram and Blue Sky. And of course, at roughhousepublishing.com, we have all sorts of things that we sell on our website, not just Gore Shriek, but original material too. Our newest book is Black Honey, written by Steve, and I did illustrations for. That's available on our site as well. But we do have our pre-order going on for Gore Shriek at roughhousepublishing.com/Gore Shriek. Lots of fun stuff going on.
Yeah, and it looks great. I'm excited for that one. I gotta get in and grab one of those tiers and decide how much of your good stuff do I need, because you're loading it with the goodies, and I love that. So yeah, it's always good. That's one thing I love when you back someone that gives you, a bundle of cool free stuff. And it's when you back these Kickstarters that make $100,000 and you don't get so much as a sticker. I'm like, step up your game, people. Yeah. People like us, we waste all the money that we make on the book buying you cool shit. So
yeah,
buy our cool shit.
Preach.
Yes. All right. So Steve, Greg, Derek, thank you so much for coming on. And next week we will be live at Anacon. I'll do a quick walkthrough. I'll try not to piss off Flash Gordon. If you happen to tune in to my San Diego Rocket Con, he did not like being on my video, but hopefully Flash Gordon doesn't yell at me this time. But if he does, tune in. See me get berated by angry Flash Gordon. There's always good times to be had. You never know.
Well, my dad was Ming the Merciless, so you can just give me a call. I can come down and give you
all right. Flash, you know what? I got Ming on my side. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to film the stupid con before it's open, and you're going to yell at me for filming your booth that should have been empty. Flash Gordon, apologies, but Ming will not take that bullshit again. So don't break the flow, Flash Gordon, because Ming is on my side.
That's right, Ming Jr. But yeah, yes.
In the end, he doesn't need to know. It's like, all right, a younger,
that's
scarier
true.
Ming.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
he might remember, but yeah.
Yeah. In the end, he'll just yell at me, and I'll say, you know what? I have Ming Jr. Backup officer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next week, have a great weekend, and we will see you next Saturday live from Anacon.
See you guys. Thank you.
Tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. Hey! New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days.
All right.